I just want to know. I want to know, Peter. I want to touch on all your trades you've been doing so far. I want to get a sense of, you know, you've
Yeah.
been making big moves. Are you
Oh
the
yeah.
guy who bought what is it, $900 million worth of call options on MSTR?
No. Best trade ever. This is not financial advice. Buy Bitcoin and just hold it.
Okay, so that was one of the biggest.
Diamond hands.
That was one of the biggest comments that we kept getting on the MSTR video from last time,
Right.
which was these guys don't know anything about Bitcoin, or if you're trading Bitcoin, you've already lost. And like I get it, like I totally understand that. I don't know if I haven't said it enough on this video, and I'm pretty sure Mike agrees. Uh, we're not saying trading as a replacement for hodling, as a replacement for your long-term portfolio. Have your long-term assets, be exposed to the markets you want to be exposed to, and the trading is ways of trying to collect some more pennies off the ground, get a few more percentage points along the way. That's
I
not
don't think you
the idea
should.
here.
That's the wrong tack, Tom. Okay. The balanced approaches. It's not smart for the internet. What you need to do is double down. Never ever hodl Bitcoin. Always trade it. In fact, the worst Bitcoin is a Bitcoin you have. Okay, it should be moving.
And short MSTR every day, all day, right? That's the idea to do.
Absolutely, that and Elon. Anything Elon does, just short that.
So I want to clarify a few things over here. All right. First of all, let me make myself clear. I am not an expert in MSTR. I never said I was. Mike never said he was. I'm just giving my opinion based on what it looked like from the outside. What it looks like from the outside, and I don't know how anyone could deny this, is that Michael Saylor is going place to place, building to building, show to show, talking about how wonderful the MSTR trade is.
And why wouldn't he?
Well,
Okay, but just so you know, okay, I'm not like one of you guys. All right, I'm from the comment section. That's who I am, and I agree with the comment section. You bulldozed Michael Saylor unfairly. You defamed him. Okay, but you really went hard on him. Okay, you have your opinion, but I've never heard so many. I never heard an opinion said with such force before. What's up with that? You got some beef with Michael Saylor? You got some
my
beef with
problem
Bitcoin?
is that well, I think that my opinion of Michael Saylor, well, first of all, I'm very bombastic as a person. That's just how I am. I'm very flamboyant. I'm over the top. I totally understand that. The other part is that so is he, and so is the rhetoric around MSTR, the golden laser eyes of Michael Saylor online. All right, the Bitcoin maxis, and I have nothing against maxis. Have the Bitcoin maximalists have in large part adopted, or what it seems like in large part adopted this person as a prophet, as an ambassador, as a
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's a spokesperson for Bitcoin. You think one of the red flags is that he's going around talking about Bitcoin, but I mean, why wouldn't you talk about Bitcoin? Why wouldn't you go and evangelize it? You think it's actually a savior for the system?
do I think Bitcoin's a savior for the system?
Oh, he does.
Yeah, of course. Well, here's the thing. Someone who is a telling the truth avidly and someone who is lying avidly sounds the same. This is true for any
Okay.
type of thing you're doing,
All right. It's
right? The
convenient.
really good liars sound exactly the same as the sincere evangelists. So it's hard to tell those two apart. So when I see that sort of like fervor, then I go, this is something to watch out for. Now, I was making the comparison to Luna and the and SBF and all that in the last one, not because I'm saying that MSTR is specifically like that type of Ponzi scheme. I was
Mhm.
just saying that it's sus. That's all I was saying, that it's sus. Right?
Okay, but
That's
what
my
is
concern.
it? It's sus because your gut feeling says it's sus. Because what you were saying is he's going around running his mouth. Why is he doing that? I think I debunked what you said about that as debunked, and then you
Well,
went on.
I just want to touch on that, Peter, because in the comments, people were saying, hey, he's not telling people to buy MSTR. He's telling people to buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I get it. Because if Bitcoin goes up, MSTR goes up. He doesn't need to tell people to buy MSTR. Of course, he's going to tell people to buy Bitcoin. The whole point here, Peter, I don't know if you know the just to boil it down here. Do you know the issue with like Michael Saylor's been going around essentially selling bonds, convertible bonds for MSTR? The pitch is
Mhm.
that you buy this bond. So basically, you're lending money to MSTR for them to go and buy Bitcoin. He states, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin with what the money you're giving me, and I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to sell the Bitcoin. So the idea here is that you get this bond that you can exercise. I believe the last one is in 2029. Please, comments, don't hold me to the exact numbers. I'm not trying to memorize any of the stuff, but 2029. And the idea is that you'll be able to convert that bond either in cash, you can get the cash for it, just like a regular bond, or you can get a certain number of shares. Now, let's say right now, I don't know, MSTR is trading at $400 per share, and the bond converts at $600 per share. Now, that's only worthwhile to you, like you're only really making money, is if you think the share price will be higher than $600 in the future in 2029. So if you think it's going to be 800, you're like, okay, I'll take this trade because I'll get this. I'll be able to get the shares of MSTR at a lower price in the future. It's a call option. Here's what bothers me here, though. All right, so the bond doesn't have a coupon. There's no interest payments on the bond. It's a 0% bond. Right, Peter? So
Okay.
if I tell you, lend me $100,000 and I'll give you back $100,000, you might be like,
But doesn't that beat
okay.
inflation, or doesn't that? Isn't the reason 0% interest is desirable because if you didn't do that, you would lose money? Isn't that what Saylor says?
No. In this scenario, because the bond is so desirable, he doesn't actually have to provide interest, 0% interest,
Oh, I see.
or any type of interest, because the interest is supposed to be something to incentivize someone to actually buy the bond. So if you're worried that the company is high risk, you might say, okay, I want a 7% interest, an 11% interest, or whatever it is. But here people are going, no, I'm going to make my money off when I convert the bond into the stock, I'm going to get more money there. That's going to be my payout. And it's worth it to me, so I'll buy the bond at 0%. So people were buying it, let's say, at a 55% premium for what it was trading at the time the bond was offered. So, and I get that, right? Because the people are thinking, and this is what I understand. This is why I tiptoe around the idea. I'm not calling it a Ponzi scheme, but this is why I can understand how people are talking about it as a Ponzi scheme. Because the idea here is that why would the shares be above $600 in 2029, right? Not because you're actually getting the Bitcoin. You're not getting the Bitcoin. The idea here is that you're expecting that Michael Saylor will continue, or MSTR will continue to do this. Will
Yeah.
continue to buy more Bitcoin.
I mean, he will.
Well, I mean, that's the idea. And in order to make the share price more valuable.
Right.
So you're counting on this thing happening. So you're counting, are people in the future buying more of the bond or whatever scheme
I'm
they
rolling
come
my
up with
eyes. You're
in
about to
order
talk
to
about
buy
pyramid
more
scheme. Is that it?
Bitcoin? Well, when you need, and those bondholders get paid out by the new money that comes in, right? Because I'm not entirely, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't know that the money that they have on hand covers the entire value of the bonds. If you have to pay out all the bonds in 2029, I don't know that they have as much cash on hand. I don't know. And he says he's not going to sell Bitcoin, so I would assume that the only way he can get more money in is if new people buy the next series of bonds. So if you need new people to buy in order to pay out the people who bought before, and that's where the money's coming from, it's not coming from economic activity, it's coming from a financial instrument. I don't understand how this is not a Ponzi scheme.
Is Bitcoin a valuable asset? Is it a real thing?
Yes, but he states that they're not going to sell any Bitcoin. So if he was saying, well, we're going to sell the Bitcoin at a profit or whatever, and then you're going to get your payout there, and we're essentially custodian or whatever it is for the Bitcoin, then I'd be like, fine.
But why would
But
you
he's
sell
saying
the
they're not gonna
Bitcoin if Bitcoin increases in value?
One more time.
If Bitcoin is going to increase in value, why would anybody sell the Bitcoin?
Well,
You can
the
just borrow
bonds,
against the Bitcoin.
well, MSTR has to pay out the bonds. So they either have to pay it out in cash, which most people won't want unless the bond is the value of the stock is less than the convertible price of the set price of the bond, or they have to pay out in more shares. So if they pay out the bondholders in shares, great, right? MSTR doesn't have to actually give any money. They just pay out with more selling the shares into the market, getting that money, and then and that money, those shares are then given to the holders.
But shares are something. Like, to me, a pyramid scheme is where the thing that you're selling or offering doesn't have any value, no?
Yeah, so this is why on the last video, I think I was talking about like the four or five different
By the way, move your
criteria.
masculine mic just a little bit away because you're getting so excited and so animated. You're peaking. But yeah, go ahead. I'm the video
The four
editor,
or five, the 4 or 5 like options, like the criteria for a Ponzi scheme. I think I even said in the video, no, it's not exactly this.
Right.
It's not exactly this. But if someone had, I don't want to go there. I was going to make some sort of a DSM joke, but if you have 3 out of 5 traits of being a douchebag, well, then you're 3/5 a douchebag. I don't know what to tell you. The issue here is that they require new money in order to make this whole thing pay out, because otherwise the share price might not go up. Now, I just want to share this conversation. I thought it was pretty insightful from that was happening between Lynn Alden and Lily on Twitter a couple of months ago or last month, talking about this very issue, because Lily is making the case that it seems very. I don't know if she calls it a Ponzi scheme, but let's just go over the conversation here. I'll just read it to you.
Spicy.
All right. Can you see that there, Peter?
Yeah, I know who Lynn Alden is. She's amazing. Well, she's sharp. Lily is who, a reporter or what?
She is a trader turned millionaire turned financial commentarist.
And who do you think is the sharper one here, Lily or Lynn Alden?
I
just mean, are they on par?
would say Lynn Alden is the sharper one. Certainly.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Let me just. Can I increase the size of this?
No, we can read it. It looks good.
All right. So I'll just go quickly through this conversation. It just makes me kind of sad that just like last cycle, the crypto markets favor illiquid leverage beta schemes, MSTR, and obvious valueless zero-sum gains, meme coins, versus rewarding actual builders building cool stuff. So this is the main complaint for Lily.
Valid.
And Lynn Alden comes in and says MSTR is insanely liquid in terms of volume. It's a way for stock and bond managers to get some Bitcoin exposure.
Right.
They go back and forth here. This idea that there are people in the markets who cannot buy Bitcoin directly, and they can't even buy the Bitcoin ETFs. And so the miners for Bitcoin and MSTR become a good proxy.
That's what Saylor says.
Yes. So I do not know a single manager who would have such a weird mandate. This is almost entirely retail flow. And if you need more evidence, the Yield Max MSTR ETF selling covered calls and the Leverage MSTR ETF both are good evidence for who's the end buyer. The billions in demand for their convertible bonds are not retail. This is a very salient point. I think retail should be cautious on the equity when premium to net asset value gets high like it is now. So then they go back and forth and talk about it. And essentially, Lynn is saying this is not like the Luna situation. The Luna token, the Luna platform, they needed to sell Bitcoin when things went bad. Whereas MSTR doesn't need to do that. They just can't sell more bonds. Right? So they don't actually have to sell the Bitcoin. It's not going to be necessarily net selling for the on the crypto markets. But then Lily says, well, if people are putting money within the if retail traders are putting money within the, or anyone putting money within the this MSTR trade, then they're not doing it in the crypto markets. And isn't that buying pressure that would be there for the crypto markets and that are not there for the that are not there now? All right, so that's so then Lynn Alden basically wraps this all up saying that MSTR is insanely liquid, that liquidity is not the issue. Three times net asset value is dangerous for equity holders, not the bond holders. She says the equity holders wants to be careful. And outside of Bitcoin stablecoins, she also agrees that she sees limited blockchain adoption. To her earlier point, blockchains aren't magic and only solve certain things. All right, so a couple of points here I just wanted to touch on.
Wait, so isn't Lynn Alden debunking you?
Well, Lynn Alden doesn't completely she doesn't agree with my stance. She's saying that the risk, if there's any risk at all, isn't to the bond holders, it's to the equity holders, and the risk there is the risk that the equity holders know already, that there's volatility within the asset, right? Because remember I was saying, if the stock price might not get to the level that makes the convertible bond worthwhile, but then they could just convert that bond back to the nominal amount that they had originally. Fine, it doesn't cover inflation, blah, 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 but that's true for any type of bet like that. And so the bond holders are not really the ones at risk. The risk is for the equity holders. Now, Michael Saylor, to hear him talk about it, he goes, well, this is good, right? The volatility on the stock price is what allows the bond to be able to be sold at 0% interest. It allows the bond to be desirable, right? When he talks about Bitcoin, that MSTR is a Bitcoin nuclear reactor, spinning Bitcoin at the speed of light, increasing volatility, whatever he's saying, his whole spiel. He's saying that this is the case, that the fact that the stock can swing, what is it, it swung 30%, down 30% the other day, that this volatility is what makes the asset and what makes these plays valuable, right? So the uncertainty as to whether or not the share price would get to a certain level now allows people to go in arbitrage. People go, I really think it'll go down, so they short the the stock. Other people goes, no, I think it really go up. It goes up. Other people express it in options. Other people express it on the secondary market for the bonds. It creates this market, which is why Lynn Alden is saying it's highly liquid, right? And
That's good. That provides security.
well, volatility provides optionality, provides ways for people to express what they think would be good or
But
bad.
liquid means that we don't have to worry that there's no money.
No, liquid means that there's enough volume that if you want to buy and sell the stock, you're not moving the stock based necessarily on
I
your
see.
purchase. It means that you're not going to be sitting there going, well, now I want to sell. Well, now we can't sell because if everyone tries to sell now, or too many people start to sell, the price starts gapping down.
I see.
All right. I don't want to go too long on this. I just want to wrap it up with a couple of points here. So I did bring up the idea that what concerns me is that, and please, you can explain this in the comments all you want. I'm happy to get more information about it. We're talking about it because we're interested in it, not because we're experts. But it does seem to me that the value of the stock isn't on the underlying asset, right? No one is talking about MSTR as this amazing software company. That's not what it is, right? The idea is that people are buying the stock because the idea is that it'll go up in price, and it'll go up in price because MSTR says they're going to keep on buying Bitcoin. The only way you're going to buy more Bitcoin is get new money in.
Yeah, okay. So, yes, I get all this, but I'm not seeing where the problem is, given that Bitcoin is something that's real, good, and valuable. What's the
But when
problem
you
with
buy
this?
MSTR, you're not buying Bitcoin. You are exposing yourself to the volatility of the MSTR stock. That's what he's selling.
Yeah, but there's an advantage to doing that because you can do things with that
Yes.
that you can't do with Bitcoin. And there are companies who can't buy Bitcoin. So what's the problem? He's providing a solution to getting Bitcoin out into the world to increase the speed of adoption by providing this other avenue.
Well, I don't know that he's increasing the speed of adoption. He's buying more Bitcoin.
Well, he's creating an atmosphere and environment where it's permissible for people to go in and take that risk. I mean, isn't
MSTR is currently owns, I think, something like 1% of the Bitcoin supply,
Mhm.
and they have a stated purpose of never selling it. This reduces the supply of Bitcoin, does not increase adoption. It increases the price, but not adoption. He's not coming up with use cases for Bitcoin other than as a financial vehicle for increasing the price of some other asset.
Okay, I've listened to a lot of Michael Saylor. He talks about if you keep your money in cash, which is what they were doing, you're losing money every month to inflation.
Yes.
And that Bitcoin is a way for you to guard your money so that it can be here 100 years from now. So you can pass it on to your children, et cetera, so you
If
can
you
survive.
own Bitcoin.
If you own Bitcoin, yes, I understand that. So he's demonstrating by the strength of his own conviction and the actions that he's taken. Hey, don't keep your money in cash. That's stupid. Put it into Bitcoin for all the security and all the benefits that you get from Bitcoin. I don't understand what the problem with that is.
Well, he is helping to inflate the price of Bitcoin by funneling money that can't go into Bitcoin. This is what you're saying is the advantage. That in a sense, that adoption, he's an avenue for money to get into the Bitcoin space. But that's not increasing the, well, I don't even want to go down that route because it might actually be beneficial for holders for adoption down the line. What I am saying is that this is a scheme that might end with MSTR, the stock, crashing massively, right? Because what we haven't talked about today, and I'll end on this. We haven't talked about the idea that the convertible bonds aren't adding leverage to to MSTR, but there are now what is it, MSTU, MSTX, which are leverage long, leverage short ETFs on MSTR, right? So then you have these entities who are trying to be levered long exposures to MSTR, so they are now buyers of the of swaps and options on the asset. And what's going on over there seems to be dubious. I'm not going to go into all the dubious there, but it looks like they switch from swaps to options because banks wouldn't give them the credit or something to that effect to be able to buy the swaps. So they're in the option space. So who knows how that goes? And with options, what you get is this gamma effect. So it could be that a down move in Bitcoin, a small down move in Bitcoin gets exacerbated with a down move in MSTR, which gets even more exacerbated with a down move in the option space. And because of the gamma, we accelerate down to the downside. That we can get massive crashes or even massive run-ups. So you get far more volatility. So I'm not sure. And there's examples of stuff like this in the past. I believe like JNUG, UVIX, where these vehicles as a proxy for something looks all good on the surface and ends up collapsing exactly when it matters most. And so in my mind, I go, in 2029, what does the Bitcoin space look like? What does the regulatory space look like in crypto? Does a vehicle like MSTR make sense 2-4 years from now? I don't know. But if the value of owning this asset is that they continue to have the scheme in order to increase their holdings of Bitcoin, I don't know how long that can go for. So I'm going to leave it there. Because,
well, before you leave it there, what's the trade?
The trade is always long Bitcoin, long US dollar, Peter. There are no other trades. Long crypto, long NASDAQ. Oh, that was the other thing. If MicroStrategies gets added to if MicroStrategies does get added to the Qs, to the QQQ ETF, if that does happen, long calls on MSTR, long MSTR. All right, because then you get passive investment flows within the markets. There's going to be people who have to buy it no matter what, and it's going to rock it up. So if it does get added into the QQQs, long calls on MSTR and enjoy your new boat.
So you don't care that this pyramid scheme or Ponzi scheme or whatever?
Well, I care in the sense that if people are going into it going, I know I'm buying this high volatility. I'm talking about retail traders. I know I'm going into this high volatility thing. It's not going to be a sure bet, but I'm taking the risk. Fine. But I don't like the conversation around it. Like, I'm going to hold this for the long term because I know it's going to go to the moon. And what was it? I saw a post someone, they sold all their Bitcoin to buy MSTR because they're like, this is a better trade than Bitcoin. Stuff like that I don't like seeing.
All right.
All right. Next up.
All right, let's fix something here. My video is too dark and you're too loud. So just move the microphone a little away from you because
I just lowered my gain.
Saylor got you triggered. And I'm dark here for some reason. But okay, that was fun. Thank you, Tom, for explaining things to me. I'm still on the side of Michael Saylor. Do you know if you go to hope.com, Michael Saylor owns that and explains all kinds of things about Bitcoin?
Yeah, I've been reading quite a bit about it.
You're a little too quiet now. And I think he's educating the population, which I think is valuable. But I hear what you're saying. And look, you've put me into some great trades here, so I'm only playing devil's advocate here. I'm not going to pretend that I understand everything completely, but I will keep worshiping at the altar of Michael Saylor. Praise Michael Saylor.
Good idea.